Greetings, YouTube, as we continue to discuss the best champions or even just some okay champions to take to rank 3 as 6 stars, given that the new progression level has essentially arrived in October. It's important to note different options. Now, today's option is not going to be accessible to 95% of people, maybe even 99% really when you think about it, because he's so new that most people don't have him as a 4-star or especially a 5-star, nevertheless a 6-star. But we do have Mr. Hot Chocolate here, Mr. ThatHCG, who has a 6-star Apocalypse and has taken him unawakened to rank 3. And I asked him about the reasons why this is. And so he has sent along some videos to showcase this and also a lot of information to read to you. So he says the debuffs he places do constant damage over time, plus extra damage on his Special 1 and Special 2, sort of like the Black Widow movie, but just way more damage, and they're active for a long time. He also wants to say that the block break he has at 4 charges makes them easy to refresh and creates opportunities to tag on a special afterward. Now, the yellow numbers aren't crazy high on his specials. You're not going to see like those really insane crits. But there are a lot of red decent numbers popping up every hit of his specials that do loads of damage, and they increase in potency if you land his Special 3. So on top of all of that, his synergies are insane, and that is the main reason why I know so many people are after him right now. In the Winter Soldier video, the only one active that we're going to see is Cable. But before we get to that, you can see this Black Panther Civil War fight and just some information that goes along with this. Parries, degen. By the way, we're going to talk more about his beauty of countering Bane for sure. So this is what he discovered and sent to me this morning. He was talking to an alliance mate who pulled the 5-star version of him about his extra long special animations. And he mentioned it would be great for Bane nodes because you can throw the special too when there's still almost about half the Bane meter left, and then transfer that Bane back to them by the time that the special ends. The first Bane path he found where he wouldn't instantly knock out somebody was 646, which happened to also have this Black Panther Civil War first fight. As it turns out, he also prevents Black Panther Civil War's ability to reflect stun, so you can safely parry through the entire fight, which just gives you so much more relaxation when you're fighting this. Now, both videos he sent are the same fight. One is with him, and the other is with him fully ramped from the Cable synergy. His block break is also super useful for Bane, as you'll see in the second video after this. When he refused to throw a special, he was able to break his block and land a heavy, transferring Bane back. Now, as a 4-star, maybe even a 3-star, he could help so many people get through some of the frustrating bits of Act 5 and become uncollected. More than a few people in his alliance chats have complained about dealing with Bane and masochism, and he doesn't even need a synergy to deal with those nodes as well as stop people from shrugging his stun or other debuffs. His ramp up without Cable isn't all that bad either. It's a little like Corvus Glaive's. Either win 4 fights against non-tech champions or 1 fight against any non-tech champ and start a fight against a mutant, and you're there. Depending on how the map is laid out, you can have full ramp up at the start of his second fight, and he makes Cable another god of the parry-heavy fight style, so you're not taking dead weight into a quest. The last video he sent, which I don't know if we'll see just because it is super long, illustrates his rank 1 5-star Cable against the Diss Track node from the Cavalier event quest this month. It did take a while, of course, to beat him, but he had been rank 3 instead of rank 1. He would have done the fight in about a third of the time. So he's super short on a mutant upgrade, so that's why he's keeping his Cable at rank 1, but he might upgrade Cable for later. So speaking of Cable, I do believe this is the fight that he throws him in for synergy purposes, and he sure does. So, just a rank 1 5-star Cable as we discussed. And this is going to give you a bit of a preview of what we're talking about. With the same fight we just noticed, but with the Cable synergy, that ramp up distance and time is shortened and you're able to get his full potential a lot quicker. He did point out once again that even without cable, the ramp up is still not bad. You've got people who they might have a cable, but it's a 3 or 4 star cable, and that's not going to work, especially when you bring Apocalypse into Act 6 with the 4 star and under gate. So here we go, the second Black Panther Civil War fight. You saw that first one, and so this is just kind of an idea of how much faster this fight goes with this rank 3 unawakened 6 star Apocalypse. And I have to say that I love talking about champions that, and look how easy he transfers that Bane with the special one, by the way. I love talking about champions that don't need to be awakened. It is just so comforting to be able to suggest a rank 3 Apocalypse, knowing that straight out of the bin, as the great Seaton would say, you'll be able to use him. It is super frustrating when somebody sends me, say, like Captain America Infinity War or Void or even Omega Red as a 6 star, like, Prof, isn't this amazing? I'm like, well, yes, but it's like a third of the puzzle, right? The first third is pulling the champion. The second third is awakening the champion. And then the third, which can be at this point the most difficult, is to get 6 stones to take that champion up to as high a SIG as possible, at least halfway to max SIG, which would be at least SIG 100, given that 6 star SIGs are SIG 200. So Kabam, for the economy of the game, has made 6 star 6 stones still so incredibly rare. They have made 5 star 6 stones a lot easier, but unfortunately that doesn't help you when all you have left in your progression or your goal of progression is taking up your 6 stars. So he sent some other specs along. This is kind of a cool fight. See just the Apocalypse once you've got the 4 missions, I guess, in place, his overall damage, and how he can even counter the Realm of Legends Wolverine quite well. Shout out to Weeby too, who sent me a version, I believe, of this fight with Apocalypse. So here, you've got the regen started. Obviously, he's not doing any damage, but fear not, because he is starting the concussion and the degen and suddenly taking down Wolverine. Now you're thinking, okay, but he's back to 100% health. Well, again, just be patient, because before long, Apocalypse will have his revenge. Bleed, weakness, poison, firing off that special, stunning, heavy, decent bleed damage, much better than I thought he'd do. Baits the special 2, eventually tries to build to his own version of a special 2, gets the special 2, parries again, and watch what happens once he gets to a special 3. Okay, so he does the 2-hit heavy, fires off the special 3. Really cool special 3 animation, I must say, as well. Reminds me of what I thought the X-Men Apocalypse movie was going to be, though he ended up looking more like Ivan Ooze from Power Rangers than this intimidating champion you see before you. Okay, so suddenly Wolverine has a bunch of debuffs on him and is down to about half health, and suddenly that regen ain't proctin'. And since the regen ain't proctin', you're able to really have a much smoother fight. And you can see it's not a perfect fight. It took some hits, did intercept there. But now that he fired off that special 3, he is just in total control of the fight. The regen finally procs, but he is not worried about that, as his damage over time is way more than the regen is giving Wolverine back his health. And that concludes the fight. There you go. So, as a reminder, his synergies are insane. He ignores masochism. The annoying skill champs can't shrug his stun. All of that, plus his synergies and abilities, turns other mutants into powerhouses. Depending on how long the quest is or how it's laid out, you can make someone a horseman and gain all 4 charges back. And we've seen him ignoring masochism, even all by himself with just 1 charge. He's got great utility. So great synergies, great utility, really underrated damage, even some pretty nice bleed damage, as you saw in that fight. So overall, Apocalypse is a rank 3 MVP and somebody that has some really unique utility that Even if you don't think you'll be able to use him that much, if you get him as a 5-star or 6-star, I would take him immediately at least to rank 4. You'll be thankful you did. And certainly if you've got some OP fellow mutants, those synergies are only going to become even more useful as you progress and look to, especially those of you in-game players, quote unquote, getting into book 2. So there you have it. Thanks again to Hot Chocolate or ThatHCG for the info. Always an honor to share this with the community and learn plenty myself.